In this demo, we're going to talk about limit charts. And in fact, these follow my discussion on banding, and you'll see it's a pretty natural segue. So this is what I would call a limit chart. And the reason I would call it that is because the current value is being limited by this range. So you can see this is actually somewhat similar to the area charts that we had. And really the main difference is that is a trick of color. So this bottom one is white, whereas this top one here is blue. So let's talk about how to create this. It's a very similar process to the last module. I'm going to push this aside for a second. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'll click Insert. I'm going to click this line chart here. I'm going to select this 2D area chart, not the stacked one, but rather the 2D area chart, where something can be placed in front of something else. So the first thing I'm going to do is go right click and then click Select Data. I'll click Add. So the series name here, we'll call this low. That's kind of your low end of the range. We'll delete what's inside that series values. Hopefully you remember to do that. Otherwise, you'll be very frustrated. I'll select that here. I'll hit OK. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select Add, and I'll hit High here. And then under the series values, I will select B3 through G3. And I'll hit OK on that. Now, what you might notice is that the high has now been placed in front of the low. So we don't really want that. I'm going to select this high, I'm going to hit this up button, and that's going to switch it around. I'll hit OK here. Now that I've done that, the next thing I need to do is select this bottom one. I'll go to Format, I'll go to Shape Fill. Now here's the thing. If I go to No Fill, it's going to be that color that's behind it. So rather, I need to go to white. This is kind of a trick. Now if I keep it like this, it looks a little weird. So I'm going to select these horizontal lines right behind it. I'll hit Delete. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight Current. I'm going to hit Control-C to copy it. I'm going to go over to this plot area, so making sure I've selected the plot area, and I'll hit Control-V to paste it. And this is actually the same problem as we had before. If I right-click it here and I go to Change Series Chart Type, it's going to bring up this dialog box. Under Current, where it says Area, I'm going to do the same thing I did earlier, and I'll hit OK and select the line. So now that I've done that, I'll select this line again. I'm going to go to Format. I want to make it blue, or I want to make it black. I'll select the region behind it, and I want to make that kind of a light blue. It doesn't really matter. You can make it gray, you can make it orange. It all really depends on the aesthetic you're going for. I'll select this one right here. And then finally, I don't really like that white buffer around it, so I'm going to right-click this bottom. I'm going to click this bottom horizontal axis. I'm going to go to Format Axis right here. On the axis position under the options, I'm going to click on tick mark so it stretches all the way across. Then finally, I have to do one last thing because this chart looks tacky. I need to get rid of those numbers. So I'll hit Edit over here, and I am going to select that range.